We're celebrating the second Sunday of Advent. The first reading is a call to comfort. Comfort my people. Why? Israel is in a kind of quarantine in Babylon, banished there because of their transgressions. They are far away from their holy place. And chapter 40 begins what's called the Book of Consolation. And it starts with comfort. Comfort my people. Tell them that their time of quarantine is at an end. They're coming home. And he says, so make straight. Lower the mountains, raise the valleys, because we're coming from here to there. And make a straight path, because we're going straight home, back to our place of holiness, back to the place of God's relationship with us. To be in a foreign land was not to experience their uniqueness, their holiness. And he says there'll be a prophet, a voice crying out in the wilderness, make straight, it's all going to be okay. Imagine in our time of quarantine and time of separation, how happy we were to hear when Dr. Fauci said, the cavalry is coming, the vaccine is close, we're going to return, we're going back to normalcy, health, but it's going to take time. But the fact that we heard it, can you imagine? And maybe some were skeptical. Oh no, it won't be good. It'll be just like everything else. Nothing helps. And maybe there were people in Israel saying the same thing. No, we're here. We belong here. We were guilty. So that's the tension of believing that we are going to receive good news. Well, the gospel that we hear today is the very first lines of the Gospel of Mark. And he says, the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Gospel comes from the Old English word Godspell. We all know the play Godspell. The good news, really, going way back, was the news that would come from runners coming back from a battle saying, we won, we're victorious. It's good because the battle is over and we're victorious. That's the good news. And so the real meaning of the gospel is that there is good news. And then in the gospel today we hear, behold, I am sending my messenger. And obviously, then he talks about John the Baptist. And the people of Israel would go to be relieved of their guilt by bathing in the waters of the Jordan. They were in violation of the law. And it could be a weekly thing. They would assume that they didn't live the law perfectly with God, so they got rebaptized. John is the forerunner, prophesied, and he knows who he is. He is a baptizer for the people of Israel, but he's saying, but there is one who is the baptism. He is the one who is baptized into our humanity and blesses our humanity by his life, death, and resurrection. He is our baptism, and we are baptized once into the water of his life, if you will. Now, obviously, we renew that baptism by our participation in the sacrament of reconciliation, which is not a rebaptism, but a reimmersion in the saving love of God in Jesus Christ. And John says, no, I am not the Messiah. And there was a spirit or a rumor going around that he was the Messiah. And you read in the beginning of John's Gospel, he was not the Christ. And John is definitely saying, no, I'm not the Christ. I am one who's not worthy to untie his shoes. He will baptize you forever and ever in the Holy Spirit. So that's the gospel for today and the readings for today. What does that mean to us? It's very important. We are in this time of waiting more for the vaccine than for Christmas, I think. Our spirits are looking forward. Is there any news today? Any good news that people are starting to receive the vaccine? And are we all going to be okay? And can we return to our old life? We have been discomforted recently, by say at Thanksgiving, a lot of displacement, separation. We were away from our sense of family and friends. We had dessert perhaps in our driveway with friends, or dinner in our garage with family. We weren't in our regular place. But the question for all of us, I think, in being the people of Israel being baptized, they were baptized to go back into a new way of living. The good news is, again and again, we are asked to not live what we say normal. I don't know for everyone, but I don't want to go back to the normal. I don't want to return, I want to recover. I don't want to return to normal. Can you imagine next Thanksgiving how grateful we will be when we remember that we were in quarantine in Babylon and we were separate? We will again and again be reminded of how it was, as Israel often recalled their times of separation. We are going to be challenged by the invitation to live more receptively and gratefully and carefully and sacramentally with our health, with our lives. How wonderful it will be that we can go with friends to restaurants and to ball games and to parties. We are heading for a Christmas that we're waiting for, still waiting for the vaccine. And I'd like to say, I wish we could wait for the good news of Jesus in our lives, like we are waiting for the vaccine. I pray for that sense of gratitude for myself. I'm waiting for the vaccine, kind of waiting for Jesus. But I'd rather have vaccine than Christmas. I listen to the Irish news every morning. It's a little habit I have, and I listen on the radio, and they are thinking about postponing Christmas. They really are. It's a possibility proposed that they would put Christmas in January, where there might be more chance of having family and celebration. Well, we're not going to postpone Christmas. We don't want God to postpone his coming to us. We don't want to postpone our reception of him. But we have to receive patiently. We are still in quarantine. We are still in separation. And we have to receive that as an invitation to trust the God that has promised, I'm comforting you, but I'm not here yet. but I'm coming. Trust, I want you to trust me. Very difficult. So our prayer at this liturgy is to be patient, receptive to the Eucharist, as we are receptive to this time of separation, of exile, of quarantine. The God who is faithful is coming. We are faithful by our Advent waiting.